First, if we just talk about the print media for a moment, because I suppose that's where I cut my teeth, I suppose, initially, straight out of the course. The writing of a press release, the formulating of the press release, the content in the press release, keeping it brief, not rambling, free of jargon. That's all coming back to me now. But this, thinking about it initially, it is crucial to the individual who's compiling that press release that they know what they're doing, because you want to obviously grab attention amongst the sea of others that are coming in, particularly if you have a genuine story that you think merits coverage. It's to ensure you land the killer blow and that it grabs the attention of the newsroom. And in my game, some of it's quite mundane, but it still needs coverage. And so it's to try and maybe dress it up a little bit to make it more interesting than maybe it would normally be. And I suppose that's where the spin doctor element of public relations comes in, is that you're not falsifying it, but you're actually making it more interesting. And that's a crucial element to print media, I find. But social media, you have almost a captive audience, because those individuals who are listening to your message have signed up effectively to your message, and taking away the advertising element of it. But if you're just talking to those who are wanting to listen and hear from you, those individuals then will be turned off if the message is too repetitive or too mundane, or in my case, if it's too political. They don't mind a little bit of information or spin, or politicizing a message. But if it's done too often, like anybody, unless they're actually in politics and they can sustain it 24/7, those individuals just will not engage with you, and you'll lose followers that way. And the same for Twitter as well. You have to keep it relevant. You have to know your audience almost, and you have to obviously engage with people who aren't your audience and try and win them over. But as it can be seen in social media, what I find now is I'm actually on 24/7 as a result of social media, and that's also hard. So even if I had somebody assisting me in the office, there actually is somebody coming in now to give me a hand for a few weeks. But outside of that, no one's going to do the graveyard shift for you. And not that you have to be on all the time, but it's more that you are, like the election last night, doing your tweets, not out of knowing people know that you're so sad that you're up at 2 and 3 in the morning, but more that you have keen interest and you're trying to engage and talk to, particularly a lot of the journalists. It's a great way of getting to know journalists. Twitter is fantastic from that perspective. I find Facebook is saturated. It's really only for the local constituents, I find. There's a real, if I want to get some coverage on a certain story, and I'll do it on Twitter first, and then I can embellish it, or flesh it out on Facebook a little bit more. Thank God you're restricted in characters in Twitter, because it actually forces you just to get the substance of the message. And hopefully that gets traction. And it has, I found it has. I mean, I've had a litany of stories in the last little while who've got good coverage from Twitter. But I would say maybe never, with the exception of last week and a local paper on Facebook. And that's it. So it's a clear distinction. Facebook is good from the sense of market research, because you know who you're appealing to without actually having to engage any consultants or pollsters, as the UK might find that they don't need to engage them anymore. But Facebook is the black and white of who you're appealing to, and then Twitter is more of my contact with the media.